Because yes, right now the Spurs are not the same team that they were back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and in the early 2010s, where if they don't win the MVP, you can be sure to see them somewhere within the top 5 every single year. So the conversation for Victor throughout his career will not be whether he's a good enough defender. The conversation is how long is he going to dominate. One of the best things about sports is no matter how good you think someone is, there'll probably be someone else that's going to come and top them. And right now, when we're talking about basketball, when we're talking about the NBA, Victor Wembanyama is one of these generational talents that you look at and you think to yourself, maybe Victor could really top LeBron. Maybe Victor could really come through and top Jordan. But again, only time will tell. But for sure, Victor definitely has the talent. He's got the skill set. He's got all those ingredients to make it happen. At the tender age of 20, Victor Wembanyama is not only living up to the hype, he's also exceeding the hype. Dubbed as the most anticipated prospect since LeBron James, Victor's rookie season was historical and arguably the greatest season out of any rookie, of course outside of Magic Johnson. And so far from what we've seen and from what I believe Victor capable of doing, his second season is going to be even more impressive. To highlight my point, you just have to look at his numbers so far this season. Look, he's averaging more points, he's averaging more blocks, more rebounds per game, he's more efficient in his field goal percentage, 3-point percentage, and free throw percentage. The only thing that Victor hasn't improved on is his assists that have gone down slightly, but nonetheless, if you're improving at everything else and only one thing has gone down a little bit, and part of the reason why you could probably point to the fact that the Spurs now have Chris Paul. Again, as I've said, if you thought last season was good, this year Victor looks to be improving. And Victor improving is good news for Spurs, but it's horrible news for everyone else around the NBA. Because yes, right now the Spurs are not the same team that they were back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and in the early 2010s. The Spurs are no longer this giant in the West that everyone has to be afraid of. They are really and truly a joke of a team who would be very, very happy to just be in the play-in this year. But this won't last. When you have a player as good as Victor Wembanyama, who will be improving year on year as we're seeing right now, all you need to do is pair him with another star or pair him with a player that's even half competent, because not too long from now, even as early as next season, depending on how the season goes, it might even be this season, the anticipation is for Victor to be an MVP candidate every single year of his career until, of course, the latter stages of his career when he begins to decline. But the anticipation is that for the majority of his career, Victor is going to be a player like Luka Doncic, a player like LeBron James, like Michael Jordan, like all of the greats, where if they don't win the MVP, you can be sure to see them somewhere within the top 5 every single year. It is of course normal to compare players to the other players in their draft class, but I think that's just really unfair to compare anyone else that came to the league at the same time as Victor, because again, Victor is one of one. He's going to be a generational player, and a lot of these other players will just be happy to be starting the league. They don't have the same expectations that we put upon Victor, because really and truly they don't have the same talent that Victor displays. And one of the points that I keep seeing in other videos, that I have reacted to on this channel, is that the most scary thing, the thing that scares most people about Victor it's not really his offensive game, because we all know he's going to be great offensively. It's his defensive game. And with Victor, the question isn't about whether Victor is going to be a great defensive player or not. He is already one of the best defenders in the NBA. Last year, he was about to win Defensive Player of the Year. I still think they should have given it to Victor. Again, when you compare both teams and the impact they have on their individual teams between Rudy Gobert and Victor Wembanyama, the more impactful player is Victor Wembanyama. But again, it's not like an MVP conversation. The DPOY is vastly different, and I understand why Rudy won it, but I wanted Victor to win. So the conversation for Victor throughout his career will not be whether he's a good enough defender. The conversation is how long is he going to dominate and how many DPOYs is he going to end his career with. We're only in November, you can already see Victor's defensive impact. He's already averaging 3.7 blocks per game and 1.3 steals to go with that. The conversation with Victor isn't about whether he's living up to the hype or not. Victor is going way beyond that. He's delivering on the hype, and he's setting new standards of what a basketball player should look like in the future. It is insane what we're seeing unfolding before our eyes. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Victor Wembanyama. Let me know in the comments what are your projections for this year. And as per usual, I appreciate you watching. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share. Do all these things, so please help me grow this channel, and I'll see you soon.